Good morning. Thank you so much for joining for 2023 retirement planning considerations. And this is a part of our 2023 webinar series. My name is Jenna Witherbee, and I'm one of the advisors on the team at 401k Plan Professionals. And one of our passions is to empower individuals to reach their financial goals. And though we work in the 401k space specifically and 403b plan space, the reason why we started this webinar series years ago is we wanted to educate not only on topics such as 401k, but overall financial wellness. And so we're able to reach people and educate people on a variety of different aspects of their financial life. And these webinars that we host are typically 30 minutes or less. Again, a variety of topics. We typically have 12 scheduled each year, and you can hop on live, or you can, of course, watch the recording afterwards. It'll be posted on our website and our YouTube channel, and you can certainly distribute that to anybody that you think would find value in that. And all of our past webinars and presentations are online as well. But I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to join me. I invite you going forward to subscribe to our YouTube channel, 401k Plan Professionals. You also can go on our website, 401k Plan Professionals, and see what we have upcoming. Something we're really proud about is last summer, we finally got done recording this 8 steps to becoming financially well. We talk about financial wellness in our group presentations for our retirement plan clients, but we wanted something that was a little more on demand. And so one thing on our website you'll find is this financial wellness kind of mini series. So we have these 8 steps that are meant to be done or prioritized in order. And each one has a short, maybe 3 to 5 minute video that is associated with it. And you can scan this QR code if you want to, and that'll pull you right to that specific education page on our website. If you are yourself a plan sponsor, we also have a nice kind of one-pager, a flyer that has this QR code, so you can email or post it for your staff as well. But today, during the presentation, I'm going to talk about ways to save and the new 2023 limits for a variety of different plans and accounts, notable deadlines, pre-tax versus Roth contributions, and just tips to getting on track or maintaining a good path towards a solid financial picture. And before I go into the ways to save and the limits, I wanted to start here with Social Security. And this is oftentimes how we set the stage when we're doing, say, a group presentation on site at one of our clients, is we say, you know, we all have to save somewhere for retirement, primarily because Social Security is not going to provide everything that we need to live off of in retirement. It's certainly a part of the picture. It is a piece of the pie. And if you're not aware, every summer we have one of our more popular webinars. We partner with a couple folks at the Social Security Administration. They do an hour-long presentation on Social Security, Medicare. It's fantastic. I have the recording from last year if you would like that. But I think that's a great way to kind of start thinking about, okay, the why behind what I'm actually doing. And this is a look at depending on your level of pay, what percentage of that annual pay may be replaced by Social Security. And of course, this is ever changing. But this is just an approximation, you know, anywhere between maybe 30% to, on the lower end of earnings, you know, maybe 50% of what you're needing to live off of in retirement. And here's the grid as far as when you're considered full retirement age for Social Security purposes. So now if you're born 1960 or later, it's age 67. And this hasn't changed in a while. One thing we like to point out to people is that retirement is really a function of money and not necessarily age. You know, you don't have to wait until your full retirement age for Social Security to stop working. If you have enough saved up, you can certainly retire sooner. But this is, I think, in a lot of people's minds when they can retire or where their targets are set. So let's look at an example. If someone was born in 1948, they're FRA, in other words, full retirement age, is age 66. That's when they would get 100% of their Social Security benefit. And of course, you could take Social Security early, starting as early as age 62, but then that benefit is reduced permanently. And you can see the percentages that it would be reduced by. And then you can even take the strategy of suspending your benefit payments to start at age 70. That would be the furthest out you'd ever want to delay. And you can see you get an 8% increase each year that you delay. There's no benefit in delaying past age 70. We also hear from people, I'm planning on working part-time in retirement. And that's, of course, part of the conversation as well. These figures are updated every year, but I wanted to just point out, if you start collecting benefits and you're still working, there is a difference depending on if you're under your full retirement age in the year your FRA is reached, or if you are beyond your full retirement age. So here's a grid kind of showing the income that would potentially impact the amount of Social Security benefits that you would receive. And all of this information is online on the Social Security website, but I just wanted to highlight a couple pieces. And we do certainly encourage people to go out there, create your login. It's a very secure site. It's all personalized to you, your Social Security number, your work history. You can run illustrations and see what your potential benefits could be. So there's actually a lot out there. Again, let me know if you want that recording from the Social Security Administration that we co-hosted that webinar with last year. But then in our world, primarily we're talking 401k, right? So over on the left-hand side of the screen, I'm highlighting here the new 2023 limits in 401k or 403b employer-sponsored plans. So it's $22,500. If you're over age 50, you can put in an additional catch-up contribution up to $7,500. And these limits are up from last year of $20,500 and $6,500. So they actually went up quite a bit this year. And the middle two columns, I will talk about IRAs today, individual retirement accounts. And those have a combined limit of $6,500, which is up from last year, which was $6,000. And once you're over age 50, you can put in an additional $1,000. That stayed the same from last year. And on the far right-hand side, I would be remiss if I didn't mention health savings accounts as not only a way to save for future and current medical expenses, but also we're seeing these more and more become a piece of the retirement income picture. You can save money into an HSA as long as you're enrolled in a high deductible health insurance plan. And the limits here are $3,850 if you're on an individual plan, $7,500 on a family plan. If you're over age 55, you can put in an additional $1,000. And those limits have consistently gone up year over year as well. And the reason why I say, this is a part of the retirement picture is not only can you use this money for medical expenses, but after age 65, money in your HSA can be used on non-medical. You just have to pay regular income taxes if you're taking it out for non-medical. You wouldn't want to take it out for non-medical before age 65, but 65 and later, it's almost acting like a 401k plan in a sense. But HSAs have triple tax savings. You can put the money in tax, pre-tax. You can invest the money. I think that is a big misconception. A lot of people think their HSA money has to sit in cash, and typically a portion does. Typically around $2,000, $2,500 has to be in cash. But a lot of HSA providers beyond that will let you invest in mutual funds very similar to the 401k. So you can invest and earn money tax deferred, and then you can take it out tax free to pay for medical expenses. So if you hear the term triple tax savings, that's what we're talking about with HSAs. And we don't necessarily have anything to do with HSA plans, but it's certainly a part of our conversation with people. And for our retirement plan clients, we like to know, do you offer a high deductible plan? Do you have staff that have HSAs? Because that'll definitely come up in conversations. So this chart here is just showing over the course of 15 years, maxing out your HSA. You've got, say, $120,000 in contributions. Say you've invested that. assuming a 6% annual rate of return, you've got $73,000 in tax deferred earnings. And then if you're using it for medical expenses, you are able to take it out tax-free. So have savings from tax deductions as well. So keep that in mind. Now back on IRAs, I wanted to mention a couple limits and some new numbers here. So you can always contribute to the IRS maximum into an individual retirement account. However, if you earn too much and or are already covered by a company 401k, you may not get the actual deduction. Okay, so this year, the deduction to a traditional IRA is phased out for singles and heads of households who are covered by a workplace retirement plan and have modified adjusted gross income between 73 and 83,000. Those figures did go up from last year. And then for married couples filing jointly, in which the spouse who makes the IRA contribution is covered by a workplace retirement plan, that phase out is 116 to 136,000, up again from last year. And then if the IRA contributor is not covered by a workplace plan, but their spouse is, the income phase out is 218 to 228,000. So just wanted to kind of note that these are things to keep in mind. You can always save the money in, but you may not get that deduction on a traditional IRA. And then on Roth IRAs, there is an income phase out range to actually make contributions. This is different than Roth contributions inside a 401k, keep in mind. So Roth 401k, anybody can do it as long as the plan allows, no matter the income. Roth IRA, there's an income phase out. So for single taxpayers, it's 138 to 153,000. And then for married filing joint, it's 218 to 228,000. And these figures are all on the IRS website. If you are hiring a tax professional, they are very familiar with these limits as well. Again, wanted to mention there's no compensation limits to contribute Roth after tax dollars in your 401k, as long as your 401k plan allows for that. You just would be subject to those IRS limits that I talked about, the $22,500. If you're over age 50, you can put in more. Some 401k plans even offer in-plan Roth conversions. And that would be a situation where you take some of your pre-tax money inside your 401k, convert it to Roth dollars. And we don't see that often, I think, because it creates a taxable event. And a lot of times that's not something people are wanting to do with large sums anyway. But that is a provision that we're seeing more and more inside 401k plans. And then backdoor Roth IRAs is a method that allows high income earners to roll over money from a traditional IRA into a Roth IRA. I wanted to mention gift limits. This may or may not pertain to you, but just I think worth noting for this year, contributions of up to $17,000 per individual or $34,000 for a married couple filing jointly. That's the annual gift tax exclusion, and these amounts are up from last year. Also, you can contribute 5 times as much if the contribution is treated as if it were spread over a 5-year period. Now, notable deadlines. April 17th is the deadline for 2022 IRA contributions. We're past the point that you can put anything in for 2022 into your 401k as an individual, but for IRAs, the deadline is April 17th. April 17th is also the deadline for employer contributions for 2022, unless an extension has been filed. And then December 31st is the deadline for required minimum distributions for this year. And the RMD age did just change. I'll talk about that more in a moment, but it was age 72 and retired, that would trigger required minimum distributions. That changed effective January 1st to age 73. So the deadline for 2023 RMDs is December 31st. Remember though, your first time you get a little bit of an extension, kind of a grace. So if it's your first year to take an RMD this year, you actually have until April 1st of 2024. And that last point I wanted to note, if you turned 72 last year and you took your first RMD, you can't say, oh, wait, I wasn't 73. I'm not 73 yet, so I don't have to. If you started your RMDs at age 72, you have to just continue on that path. That question may come up here and there. So talking pre-tax versus Roth, and years ago, I would say Roth contributions weren't as prevalent inside 401ks, but now they really are. I'd say most plans allow for Roth and pre-tax contributions. Most people have heard of it by now if they're not themselves saving with Roth. But this is a slide right from our participant education presentation. So we're showing people the difference between traditional and Roth contributions. So on the left, I would say traditional is a lot more common still, but contributions are made on a pre-tax basis. The money will grow tax deferred, and when you take it out, the withdrawals are subject to regular income taxes, whatever the tax brackets are at that time. Roth on the right, contributions are made on an after-tax basis. You have tax-free growth and tax-free withdrawals as long as they're made after age 59 and a half out of the 401k. So why would someone consider Roth? We kind of break it down like this. Of course, we don't have a crystal ball, but if you think your income will be higher in retirement than it is now, or your tax rate will be higher in retirement than it is now, Roth would maybe make sense for you. If you require or desire tax diversification, I'm seeing this a lot where people say, up until now, I've saved all pre-tax. I kind of want to have an additional option, an additional bucket of money, a different type of money to pull from in retirement, and maybe be able to manipulate my tax situation a little more and customize things when I'm in retirement. So I'm going to do some of both, or maybe I'll switch all to Roth for a while. And just age too. I do see a lot of people in their 20s and 30s doing Roth because they're in some of their lower income earning years. They have 30, 40 plus years of tax-free growth. That sounds pretty attractive. So we are seeing it definitely pick up. And then remember, I had mentioned there's those income limits to even save in a Roth IRA. Roth 401k opens the doors and says, it doesn't matter your income, you can save Roth 401k as long as your plan allows for it. And for everybody, a really good rule of thumb is to bump up your contributions periodically. So whatever system works for you, maybe it's on an annual basis, maybe it's aligned with a raise. That's a really good rule of thumb. When you file your taxes, a certain time of the year, a lot of 401k providers will even let you add automatic increases to your contribution rates. So in other words, you could key into the system and say, okay, I'm at 5% now. I'd like to go up 1% a year every January until I hit 10, something like that. And that's no cost to use those kind of auto features. It's just taking the manual process off your plate. And for all of us, it's good to kind of take a step back and realize that smaller baby steps, incremental changes still can make a big difference over time. So sometimes we're showing people something as little as $5 or $10 a week, extrapolate that out over several years. This could be a lot of money saved for you. And it's not saying don't have fun, don't go out for lunch, don't buy coffee, but it's just the thought of paying yourself first, paying your future self first. And you'll be so glad years from now that you did this, even if it's just little things that you give up here and there. So now I wanted to give a little bit of a stock market update. In some of my slides, I've had estimated or assumed annual rate of return, sometimes 6%, you might see 7%. And where that's coming from is the long-term average in the stock market in the S&P 500 is over 9%. But I want to take a step back and show you over the course of the last several years, kind of where we've been. And so this is showing the S&P 500 since 1996. You can see overall a positive track record, but there's certain points in time where we have these downturns. And most notable would be the early 2000s with the tech bubble, 08 beginning of 09 with the financial crisis. Then we experienced 10 plus years of some really nice double-digit growth. And then this 34% drop we experienced in March 2020 was the start of the pandemic in the United States. After that recovery, I mean, we really, for a year and a half, we enjoyed some really nice growth. And then you can see on the far right-hand side of the screen, 2022 was down 20% on an S&P basis. This slide is always encouraging to me, though. This is showing the last 42 years, and the gray bar is how we ended that particular calendar year. So in 32 out of the last 42 years, the S&P 500 has ended positive, despite having intra-year declines, which are those red dots. So at any given point in time, any calendar year, we've been down. In fact, some years we've been down pretty significantly, but most of the time we end positive. In fact, here's where that over 9% long-term average is coming from. And I like to show this to people that are saving in 401ks because, even if we experience a bad quarter or even a bad year, that doesn't mean we have to make huge knee-jerk reactions. We don't have to panic. We don't have to make extreme changes. Just knowing that the long-term track record is very much positive. And what we don't want people to miss during times of volatility, for example, March 2020 and throughout all this volatility of 2022, we don't want you to sell out of your investments and then miss the recovery. So here on this screen, it's showing 5 of the biggest market declines. You can see the dates up across the top, the decline. And then the lighter blue boxes in the middle are showing the 5 years following that particular decline. And again, that's what we don't want you to miss. And you can see in 23 out of those 25 years, we experienced positive returns. In fact, an average 5-year annual total return of 17 to 36%. So when we're talking with somebody about their 401k investments and feeling maybe nervous or anxious about what has occurred the last few quarters, we can show them what has happened in the past. And of course, that's not an indicator of what will happen in the future. But I think we can typically reassure people that it's typically not a matter of if we'll recover, it's just when, and we don't want you to miss that recovery. There's truly a case for sticking with your plan. Here's a look at if you stayed invested in the S&P 500 from 2001 to the end of 2020, you had an annual rate of return, average rate of return of 7.47%. And if you just missed the best 10 days, that is cut down to 3.35%. It is very hard to be successful with timing the market. A lot of times people think, I can outsmart, I can get out at the right time and I'll get back in at the perfect time. And the reality is that just doesn't happen. So it's really best to stay the course, can make small tweaks, small changes, talk to your financial advisor before you do anything. But really sometimes just less is more during these times of volatility. And then tying it into you as an individual, age and risk tolerance is just really big when it comes to your investment strategy. So the further out you are from retirement, the more aggressive you may be able to invest, the more risk you could take on. And the closer you get to retirement, the less risk that you want to take on. And part of the reason why we say that is just looking back over the years. If you point your eyes towards the green bars here, that's looking at a portfolio fully in stocks. Over any 1 or 5 or even 10-year period of time, you can see volatility, more volatility in the shorter time periods. But if you look on the far right-hand side, over any 20-year period, of time or longer, stocks have never had negative performance. The worst 20 years was still a positive 6%. The best was positive 17%. So this is kind of the basis of the previous slide. So that those types of things and setting the stage, talking about the fundamentals, explaining things through, that really helps us and guides our conversations with retirement plan participants. And I hope you can see that these conversations stem far beyond just their 401k, just their employer-sponsored retirement plan, and we're able to kind of look at the whole picture. So I talked about these different sections. I wanted to note that coming up in February, we actually have 2 webinars that we're hosting. One is my typical quarterly fiduciary training. This is great for somebody that's new to being a fiduciary, new sitting on a 401k committee, maybe never has worked with us before. I'll kind of walk through our methodology and a sample meeting and why we do what we do. And also Gina will be hosting a webinar on Secure 2.0. So the change to the required minimum distribution age that I mentioned on a previous slide, that is just one of the many changes in Secure 2.0. The Secure 2.0 Act of 2022 was just signed into law by President Biden on December 23rd. And it is a slate of several changes to improve retirement savings options for individuals. And this builds on, by the way, this builds on the Secure Act of 2019, and Secure stands for Setting Every Community Up for Retirement Enhancement. So that would be a really great one, especially if you yourself are a plan sponsor. There's a lot of changes coming 2024 and beyond with that Secure 2.0 Act. So I know this year you're going to be hearing a lot about these upcoming enhancements. So you can use this QR code here to, it'll bring you right out to our website, to the registration page, and you can get signed up for a number of these webinars. And just to repeat, everything is out on our website, 401kplanprofessionals.com, YouTube, 401k Plan Professionals. And again, thank you so much for spending some time with me this morning. Certainly don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions. There's my phone number, my email address, and those upcoming webinars. Again, our whole team is very appreciative of the time you spent with us today. Have a great day. Bye-bye.